I just picked up this guy right here. This is one of those IBC totes that used for transporting chemicals and food-based chemicals, different things like that. So there's a man in town that actually buys and sells these things, and he sells these for 90 bucks a piece. And I picked one up because I want to use these. I want to use one of these as an Evaporust soak tank. That's what I'm going to do. My plan is to take probably along this ridge here, go all the way around and cut it off so it's not so tall, and I'll probably hinge the top back on so that we can close it up and kind of seal it off. But my plan is to have this over in the garage and you know, fill it full of Evaporust and have it so that I can drop things down in there and soak. So, you know, large parts, small parts, things like that. These do come with a ball valve down at the bottom, so you can drain it later on. I think these things will work pretty good. It's all plastic down here, so there's nothing to rust or rot. So that's the plan with that anyway. I'm going to get it over in the garage and figure out my game plan. But just wanted to share that with you. This is something I've been wanting to do, is build me a nice vat for the Evaporust to soak large parts in. Bars off here. Go ahead and take the lid off. I'm going to put some self-tapping screws up here at the top to hold the tank against this rib, and then once I do, I'll trim the top a little bit because I think we're going to make a wooden lid for this, kind of drop the height down. Alright, I got the screws all the way around to hold the plastic up rigid, and I've trimmed the top around, and I think what I want to do is go ahead and use, I got this piece of plywood here, and use that as the top. And one of the reasons why I'm trying to keep this, you know, at a reasonable height for maximum efficiency, if I want to put a lot of Evaporust in here, and I can still at this height bend over and touch the bottom so I can retrieve the parts out of there. Shouldn't be any issue. I thought about maybe bringing it down one more level and cutting it, and then using the top piece and hinging it on, but the the top plastic is so flimsy it doesn't really line up very well. So I think I'll go with the plywood lid, and doing so I think I'll have maybe a 1/2 inch clearance to be able to actually put this underneath my pallet rack inside. It's another reason why I decided to go with the wood. I'll just trim this piece of OSB here so that it fits it good. And it's sitting, I trimmed it so it's sitting flat on this bar right here. I may see about some kind of sealer, like a door jamb seal, that I can stick around there to kind of help seal a little bit more. And I'll pick up a couple stainless hinges to put on this back side. May have to do some modifications to be able to actually put the hinge on here, but I think that'll work pretty good. And then just have it so that it hinges up this way, you know, just like that. Might have to put a chain or something on the side so that when you pick it up, you know, it'll stand up and not fall all the way to the back side. I decided for now I'm going to put it right here against the wall, and the lid, I can just, whenever I pick the lid up, I can just rest it right there against the wall. And I could even make some kind of like little bracket, maybe that'll flip down and hold the lid from falling down whenever I'm actually using it. But I think this is going to be a good spot for right now. It's real close to the door, gives me plenty of light. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling it. I'm going to go ahead and dump one of the small containers of Evaporust in here. When I was at the Go to Land Fest, they were giving away the used Evaporust that they were using for the demonstration there, and I was able to get 15 gallons and then another 18 gallons. So I'm going to dump one of those used ones in here and just be sure that the valve here on the side is not going to leak in any way. And then as long as I know that's good, then we'll start filling it up. So this is one of the smaller containers that they give me. This is one that you can buy. It's in a 3 gallon and it comes with the basket there, so you can use it. So I'll be keeping this right here so that we can use that for other things, but I'm going to go ahead and dump this into the tank. I'm checking the valve here. I don't see anything coming out of that valve. Here's what's left of my new bucket of Evaporust. So I think I'll be able to just utilize those baskets, maybe just tie a string to it or something. So whenever I got more liquid in there, I can just kind of pull it up. So I'm going to go ahead and start my first soak with it. I got this cutter that I had bought from Long Machine Tool that's got some surface rust on it. I'm going to use the basket right here and set her down in there. All right, we got a couple other things I'm going to go ahead and drop in here tonight too. So I've got quite a few machinist squares that I bought from Jeff Clow that I was going to clean up and eventually resell, but I wanted to soak them in this tank before I do that, clean them up. So I went ahead and just grabbed 3 for now. All right, so this is a Starrett. Looks like about a 12-inch. It's another 12-inch. I believe this one's brown and sharp, maybe. Where is that? Yep, there it is. Yep. So brown and sharp, 12-inch. And then I got a bigger one here. This one's probably about an 18 or so. It's another brown and sharp. A bunch of them have a painting like this on it. It come out of a aircraft place, I believe, and they had done a bunch of painting on the blades. So you can see they all have quite a bit of surface rust on them. So I'm going to let these soak overnight and see how our new tank is doing. I'll come back out here tomorrow and pull everything out, and hopefully it's going to start working. Alrighty, so it's the next morning from throwing the tools in there. So we got a couple things that I want to go over, that some changes that we're probably going to be making to this. So the lid, you know, you just saw me make the lid there, and that was my initial idea because I had that piece laying up against the wall there. And I've been talking to a couple buddies of mine, Tom and Keith, showing them some pictures of this. You know, Keith's already built one, and he built a wood lid for his too, and he says he's already had problems with the moisture getting to the wood, and he even painted it. Thomas, whenever he saw it, he said, you're going to want to paint that because the moisture is going to get to it. But Keith said that he's already getting mold around his lid, his wooden lid there. So I've got an idea on maybe replacing this lid. This was, I thought this was going to work, but I wasn't thinking about the moisture content getting to the wood. So what I think I might do, because I like this design with this lid right here. So I could take, all right, this part of the frame that I had cut off of it, I think I can use this initial piece that lays on there, and it fits up real good. I could probably just take and cut all of these uprights off there flush, and then get a piece. I could probably go to Joe down the road there and get him to shear me a piece of either aluminum or stainless. I'm thinking aluminum if that'll be okay with the solution here. That way it'll be lighter. Probably put a couple stiffeners in the middle there and then just attach a piece of aluminum to this frame and just use that as the framework for a metal lid instead of the wood lid. So that's probably what I'm going to do to address the issue with the wood lid there, okay? All right, so the second issue is obviously right here. We do have a little bit of leakage in our valve, and I've got that valve all the way closed as far as it'll go. So what I'm going to do is find out about a cap. This is threaded here, so it looks like you can put a cap on the end. Maybe put a gasket right there. We'll just cut out a rubber gasket or something and then screw a cap on, and that should keep this little bit of drainage from coming out of that valve. So for now, I'm just going to go get a piece of pig mat and put that down there, and that'll soak up anything that's dripping out for now. And I'm going to be finding out about a lid for this today. All right, we got a piece of pig mat here. I'm just going to set that right there, and that should help soak up whatever has dripped out of there. So as far as our tools that have soaked, you see we got the 3 squares, and then we've got our milling cutter right here. All right, it looks good. All the rust is off of it right there. Looking good. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's getting all the rust off of it. Looking good. I got a little table set up outside that I'm going to be washing these things off on. This is where it was pitted or more heavily rusted. Just needs a little bit of Scotch-Brite, and this will be good to go. So I'm going to go clean these off, and then I'm going to grab some more and set some more down in there. These are the first of the 3 machinist squares that we soaked in the Evaporust tank out there, and all I did was just wash them off. They probably need a little bit of buffing with some gray Scotch-Brite and some WD-40, but I brought them back here, I cleaned my table off, and I've just been doing a visual inspection against each other here, and to me it looks like all these squares are right on. They're right on what they need to be. It looks dead on. Looks dead on to me right there. So I have some machinist squares myself already, but the problem is that none of mine have been verified as to how square they are either. We've checked them against other squares, and they seem to be spot on. But I'm just going to check all these like this just to see if any of them's out of the ordinary, like if maybe the blade got moved or bent or something. But I think all these things are going to be in good shape. So I've got an idea on the rest of them. There's a few of the other ones have some of this paint on them, like this one does right here. And before I soak them, I want to try the Evaporust and see how it works on just getting that paint off of them. Now here's some of the other squares that I've still got to clean up. I just slid them out of the cases and wanted to show you. This is the paint that I'm talking about. I want to try to get off before we soak them. But each one of these are the 24-inch machinist square, and I believe I've got 3 of them as Starrett, and then one of these are brown and sharp. And I've got one more out there in the garage that didn't have any paint on it, so I didn't bring it in here. But you can see how they highlighted their part numbers here. Whatever tool room they belong to, they just kind of identified it with different colored paint. So I'm going to use some of this Evaporust and see if it'll get this off here. So there's the green. We've been soaking for about an hour and a half now. It looks like it's breaking it up. Oh yeah. It looks like it did its job. Nice. Yeah, using that rag, it just wipes it right on off there. Very cool. So here's all the squares all together. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 24-inch, and then this is an 18, and this is an 18, so we got 2 of those, and then we got 2 of the 12. So I've already soaked this one, and this guy right there. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna soak the rest of them there. You can see these don't look like they're that bad, but they do have rust on the end, and then if you stand them up, and you see the top of the body there has rust. All of them are that way because that's how they were stored. This surface up, so they all have rust there. This one, you can see it's got quite a bit of surface rust on this blade here. Better look at the bodies. See, but it'll take every bit at all. And then the nicest one out of all of them is probably this guy here. That one looks super clean, but it does have some rust on the top of the body right there. See that? So that's what I built this tank for large parts like this. So we're going to go ahead and set all of them down in this tank, or the ones I haven't soaked yet, and I'll let them sit for a day. Pull them out tomorrow and give them a good cleaning. So it's been approximately 24 hours since we put the machinist squares in there. It's the next day, next afternoon. So let's go ahead and take a look at them and see how they look, what the Evaporust has done. Look at the blade on this. It's beautiful. And you can see where a lot of the surface rust was right there and on the top. This is one of the blades that had quite a bit of surface rust on it. There's a bunch of it there. All of them had this on the top and the back right there. That's where it was mostly exposed out of the wooden case. (18-inch) here. They all look good. All the surface rust has come off. I've been bringing every one of the squares in here to my granite table, and I've been checking them against each other because I don't actually have a square that I know is spot on. I don't have a standard to set these against. I do have my personal squares up here that I've already owned, and I've been checking them against these also. And every single square that I'm checking against each other seems to be spot on. Now, whether they're out a couple of thousandths one way or the other, I haven't measured that to be able to tell you. But just do a visual inspection like this using the flashlight. I can tell that they're all very, very close where they're supposed to be. So we'll go ahead and I'll show you these two. We got a Starrett and a Brown and Sharp right here. two that I just cleaned up. So we'll start right here at the top and make sure I'm lined up. All right, and you might be able to see just a tiny bit of light coming through there. Not very much at all. So right up here at the top, I can tell that there's a tiny bit of light coming through. So we may be 1 or 2 thou out there at the top, but you know, you can see there's not a gap there between all of them, or between these two blades, and all of them are measuring just like that. Even my existing squares right here, I've been pulling them over here and checking them against some random ones that I've been pulling out. But I'd say all of the squares are in good condition. There's another sterret that I brought over here against the other sterret, just one more so you can see. I'll run the flashlight up and down the back. And from what I saw on this side, it looks like it is right there. Beautiful. Well, there we go, guys. There's all the squares that we cleaned up in the Evaporust tank, and they all look great. I think they all checking out good too, and I'm real happy with the way it's working out here. I am going to keep one of these for myself. I'm going to keep this one right here. I like it. It's the sterret number 20, the 24-inch square, and then we have a couple of Brown and Sharps in the batch here as well. We have this one right here is one of these is a Brown and Sharp. This one right here is the Brown and Sharp, and then we also have a Brown and Sharp 12-inch right here, and I believe one of the 18s was a Brown and Sharp as well. Yep, this one's a Brown and Sharp, the 18-inch. And all of them have a wooden case except for one of these 12-inch. One of these were just bare like that. So I'm going to keep this one. I want to keep this one for my own collection. I like it. And the rest of them, I'm going to end up selling them. And I'll let everybody know once I decide to put them up for sale. I'm going to have to build some crates for them to go in. And that'll take a little bit of work right there to get the crates built. So anyway, really enjoying having the new Evaporust tank and being able to soak larger tools. I got a lot of other things that I plan on being able to set down in there and clean it up. So I'll show you whenever we get to that, all right? Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to apply some rust inhibitor on all of the squares before I put them back in the wooden cases. And so for this is why I got the CRC SP300. It works really good for this kind of rust inhibitor on tools and things like that. And I keep it in this Sure Shot. Works really well. This is what all the cases look like that all the squares come in. This is just one of them, but they all pretty much look the same, just like that. All right, we made it out here to Moultrie, the big swap meet that we come to every year. We got Abby, she's with us. I'm excited. And we got Alex. Hey. And then Lance and Laura's going to meet us out here in a little while as well. Keith Rucker may be out here today. So in case you guys... He's not going to tell you. Well, yeah, he's going to sneak out here and grab all the good stuff. We just got in the gate. It's 8 o'clock. Got a little fog this morning, but we are ready to get to walking and try to find some good stuff. This is a big place. It'll take us all day to walk through the whole thing. Huge swap meet right here, and then on the other side, there's a big car show over there as well. So hopefully we're going to find some good stuff today. Maybe find a big old vise, but who knows? Let's go check it out.
But it was something, you know what I mean? This cadet didn't have a bullet on it. That was made like that.
Paint one thing good. Best way to go right now. Get them.
Yeah, I'm gonna get 6 of them.
Okay.
Have you got 10 on you?
Yeah, I can do that.
Hold on, I might.
What you got there?
Cleveland twist drill decimal chart.
Who spotted that? Ooh.
Abby did. She always spots them. I remember seeing these toolboxes right here. Yeah. And we turned. I did. Put too much air in it. That boom?
$15 a piece. Okay.
The home of quality.
These are good ones, huh?
Look at a little stirrup wrench. I'm
Beautiful,
sorry.
isn't it?
Caliper.
Stainless.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it on the boat.
These are good ones. Chinese people
All right, we've been enjoying the Lance finally made it out here.
I know, kid problems.
He finally made it, but we beat him to some of the deals, but we still got things to see. So we had us some lunch, and we're continuing to walk.
Yeah.
See? Keeping it going.
No shortage of walking.
No, look, it goes on around a while.
Yeah.
351-pound Peter Wright.
Alright, I'll see you in the morning. I'm sure we'll leave you some. Something I can afford. Do that every day.
Well, guys, we're back, and we had another successful year over in Moultrie, Georgia, for the annual November swap meet that I try to get to every year. Had a great time this year because we took the camper and we stayed over at Reed Bingham State Park, and I got a separate video on that state park over on the A-Bomb Adventures channel, and we had a great time there camping out. And we also met up with Lance Baltzy, Keith Rucker, and then my cousin Alex. We all hung out there at the swap meet together, and just enjoyed ourselves. So this is pretty much a lot of tools that I picked up at the swap meet this year. Some more really nice tap wrenches to add to my collection. A couple other machinist tools, some jacks, and we got some few cases of Brown and Sharp dial indicator stands right here as well. But we enjoy going over to the swap meet. I know I do, and it's a great place to spend the day walking up and down the aisles of all the vendors to try to find treasures. You know, you'll find just about anything. It is an automotive related swap meet, so there's a lot of automotive stuff there, you know, for those kinds of crowds. But you will find a few vendors here and there mixed in that has old tools, and then even some that have machinist tools. And you'll even find a lot of guys that have like supplies, like abrasives. One guy I stocked up on some Scotch-Brite, He had them for a dollar a sheet. So I just grabbed a bunch of that and said it was made in USA there in Georgia. So I just got some of that. But anyway, I'll get the other camera to get you in there a tighter shot and show you some of these tools up close. Like this guy right here is really interesting, and share with you some of these nice tools that I picked up. So this tap wrench right here I found really interesting because it's a design that I haven't seen before. And so this was made by Stark Products Corporation. It says patent pending right there, and they've got 4 different size squares there to catch the square shank of a tap. You have a little bit of movement right there, so you can screw that in to that point or unscrew it there, and then it stops. So you can hold the smallest taps that they make with this guy right there. You can see that square right there. And so this tiny one would be for, I got a couple samples right here just to show you. So such as if you had to hold this M1 tap right there, all right, you would use that square right there for that tap. This is a set that a viewer had given me some time back of different metric sizes, but so this would be a good tap wrench for all of these sizes right there. But we got a couple taps here also to show as an example. I just think this is a really neat design. So this is a 1/4 inch tap right there. All right. And then here is a number 2 tap. So let's go around to, let's say that one right there. All right. See, it fits it good. And then snug it up, nicely knurled. I just think that is a cool tap wrench right there. Stark Products Corp. So I was real happy to find that guy right there. They did make bigger sizes in this as well. And the man that I bought this from, he had a larger size to match this, but it was pretty well abused and mangled up, and it just wasn't really, I just didn't really like it. So I really enjoyed this one right here, so I picked it up, and it's going to go in my collection. This is another common tap wrench, and I've got a couple of these right here, but this is the number 6 size Greenfield tap and die. And this is the only one that I saw out there of this size. There might have been a couple other ones, but saw it and had to have it, so picked it up. All right. And then also the guy that I bought the Stark from, I bought this one right here. So this is a number 5, so this is the next size down from that one I just showed you. This one being a 5, this one being a 6. But this number 5 is just gorgeous, and anytime I see these tap wrenches like this, I pick them up. You can see the color case hardening in it is just beautiful. It looks like it has not been used very much. If it was used, it was well taken care of and it was not abused. Even the jaws in there look great. They don't look mangled up. So a beautiful example of how they used to build Greenfield tap and die tap wrenches right here with the color case hardening. I just love those guys. We got a couple T-handle style tap wrenches, and this one right here is really unique. This is a General and number 161R. And what's really unique about this type of tap wrench is that it's ratcheting, okay? So this guy right here, it's like a bolt. So there you've got your left-handed rotation, okay? And if you pick it up, that's neutral in the middle, so it's locked. And if you go to the other side, that'll be your right-hand rotation. So if you're doing tapping, say like in the milling machine, and you got your center point there, you can just keep ratcheting around, just like you would a socket wrench, you know. So that's a nice one to have. I've got another one similar to that that's made by Stanley, and these are very handy to use sometimes. This is another one I pulled out of the same case, but there's no name on it, so it's just an import make. But what I do like about it is the fact that it's got this turn down shank right here, and I've seen these before. I've just never owned one. You can actually put this in a 1/2 inch collet and use the collet to guide the tap wrench straight up and down. So that's why I got that one right there. Just another of that style to add to the collection. All right, I always like these square sets right here, and this one is a Lufkin. You can see it right there on the blade. Try to get you in there. Lufkin Rule Company, and this is just a small set right here. You know, 6-inch rule, small square, and center finder. And I love these things. When I find them in really good condition for a good price, I'll pick these up. I've got a couple of these now that size. This is another square right here, and it's probably an import because there's no name on it whatsoever. But the general use for these guys right here is just to take something like this. If you just got a piece of round stock, and you can just real quickly put it on the side of a piece of round and scribe the center, just like so. So that's primarily all that's used for right there, is just centering round stock. I don't have one, so I just picked it up. It was cheap. All right, we also got these two Armstrong planer jacks right there, and most of these tools I got from the same guy. Really, I kind of loaded up on him, but Keith Rucker had bought a couple of the bigger sizes from him, and then as I was continuing to talk to the man, he had these in his van, and he pulled them out, and then we made a deal on these. And these are two sizes that I don't have, and this is a really good size right here, and this is going to be one that's similar in height right here that I want to kind of mimic and come up with my own design to build and sell as a machinist jack. So those are still in the works. I just haven't gotten started on them yet, but really like these Armstrong machinist jacks. They are useful for a lot of different things, especially on the big machine tools for setups. So when I asked him if he had any more of the Brown & Sharp indicator holders, he said that he had these 3 sets left that he brought just for me because he knew I was going to come and see him. And they're actually kind of like incomplete sets. But these are the Brown & Sharp number, let me see, it was the 930. I've got book right here. I've got them bookmarked. So it's these guys right here. I'm sorry, it's 730. So we got the 730 and then the 731. They're showing the 732 right there. But that's what they look like. All right. But these are incomplete sets. Some of them are just parts and pieces. Right there, this is going to be your 730. And you see they're kind of dirty. They need some love, some cleaning up. But these are your indicator stands. All right, there's part of the stand for it right there. This was a case that had another one of the 730 bases in it. You can see it's real dirty. Number 730. So this one actually doesn't go with the case, but it was parts that he had that he just threw in here because he was just trying to get rid of his stuff. He said that he was trying to just get rid of it, and he was tired of toting it around, so he gave me a really good deal on these things right here. Now, this is the one that's most complete, and this is going to be your 731 right here. And this is the size that this was one of the first tools I bought from this man probably about 5 years ago from the Moultrie Swap Meet. And I think since then Keith Rucker bought one, Lance has bought one, I think even Dale Derry bought one. There's no telling who else has bought one, but he is now out of the Brown & Sharp indicator stand business. So this is the base for the 731 right here. Yep, 731. So you can see these are a lot more rough condition than the other ones that we've already bought from him over the years, but it's still a good tool. Just needs some cleaning up. This one came with the Ames indicator, tense indicator, and it still works. So I'd like to see about sending this one to Mark Rakowski over at MR Tool Repair and see if he can get this thing back in usable condition. Put another crystal on it, maybe a dial face on it, and get it to where we can use it. So I think this one is a complete set though. You've got your other arm right here that slides into this guy, and that mounts to the base. Really nice tools.